In this video, we'll go over all the picks and method of victory predictions that have been made by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube for the first UFC card of the year, which is UFC 324 Justin Gaethje vs Paddy Pimblett. And we start at the first fight of the night, which is between Fugitt and Ty Miller in the welterweight division. And the biggest difference between these two fighters is their age. Ty Miller is 12 years younger than Fugitt. And Fugitt has a mixed record of 3 losses and 2 wins over his last 5 fights, and Ty Miller has 1 victory in the Dana White Contender Series. But despite having only 1 victory, Ty Miller is a huge favorite with minus 450 in average odds, and Fugitt the big underdog with plus 345. Miller is also a huge favorite in picks by the YouTube Prediction Channels. 82 channels out of 90 predicted he will win this fight for 91%. And the best predictors of 2025 have him winning 9 out of 9 for 100%. And also the best predictors on favorite fighters and odds have him winning 10 out of 10, also for 100%. And the underdog, Fugitt, is picked by the best underdog predictors only 1 out of 10. So overall, Miller is a huge favorite in odds and in picks. And as a quick reminder, or for those new to the channel, the best predictors had the highest return on investment with all of their predictions in 2025. And the best favorite and underdog predictors had the highest return on investment with their picks on favorite fighters in odds only or on underdogs only. And to see the complete list of the best predictors, check out the Best UFC Predictors 2025 results video. A link can be found in the description or at the end of this video. So Miller is a huge favorite, but by which method of victory are the prediction channels predicting him to win? And most channels are expecting he will win by a KO or TKO, which is picked by 33 out of 54 channels for over 60%. One channel went with a submission win for Fugitt, and one channel picked Fugitt to win via decision. And 18 channels Miller via decision. And the best method of victory predictors of 2025, all 7 of them picked Ty Miller to win via KO or TKO. And the odds makers agree with that as well, because the most likely outcome, according to the odds makers, is a KO TKO win for Ty Miller with odds of minus 130. And the second fight of the night is in the bantamweight division between Turcios and Smotherman. And both of them don't have a great record over the last 5 fights, with 2 victories out of 5 for Turcios and only 1 victory out of 4 for Smotherman. And the favorite fighter in odds in this matchup is Smotherman with average odds of minus 190 and with plus 155 Turcios the underdog. But in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube, Smotherman is a much bigger favorite. 78 out of 94 channels predicted he will win this fight for 83%. And he's even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors, because they have him winning 8 out of 9 for 89%. And the best favorite predictors have him winning 8 out of 10, so also pretty high. And the underdog, Ricky, is only picked by 1 out of 10 of the best underdog predictors, so they don't have a lot of faith in this underdog. And for the method of victory predictions, there are 4 channels that are picking Smotherman to win via KO or TKO. Not a single channel has predicted a submission win in this fight, and most of them are going with a decision win, with 8 out of 53 for Ricky, but most of the channels are going with a decision win for Smotherman, which is picked by 41 channels out of 53 for 77%. And the best MOV predictors agree with that, because they pick him 4 out of 7 via decision. And the next fight is in the heavyweight division between 2 fighters that are pretty new to the UFC. The 28-year-old Josh Hokit is facing Denzel Freeman, who's 34. In average odds, the favorite is Josh Hokit with minus 235 and Denzel Freeman the underdog with plus 190. But in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels, Josh Hokit is a pretty big favorite. 83 out of 94 channels, or 88%, are predicting that he will win this fight. But he's not such a big favorite in picks by the best predictors, but still the favorite with 7 out of 9 for 78%. But he's a huge favorite in picks by the best favorite predictors with 10 out of 10 for 100%. But it gets a bit interesting when we look at the best underdog predictors, because 3 out of 10 for 30% are predicting Denzel Freeman to win. And for the method of victory predictions, most channels are predicting a KO TKO, which is not unusual in a heavyweight fight. With 44 out of 52 for Josh Hokit for 85% and only 2 channels for Denzel Freeman by KO or TKO. We have 0 predictions for a submission win and for a decision win, 4 for Hokit and 2 for Freeman. And 6 out of 7 of the best method of victory predictors are going with a KO TKO win for Josh Hokit. But when we look at the method of victory odds for the side of Josh Hokit, we see something very interesting, because the odds for a KO TKO win, a submission win or a decision win are pretty close together, with plus 260, plus 280 and plus 290. But in method of victory predictions, almost everybody is going with a KO or TKO win. So, are the prediction channels missing something, or the odds makers? Up next, we have a fight in the lightweight division between Michael Johnson and Alexander Hernandez. Michael Johnson has won 4 out of his last 5 fights and is on a 3-fight winning streak. And Alexander Hernandez also won 4 out of his last 5 fights but is on a 4-fight winning streak. The favorite in odds is Alexander Hernandez with minus 165 and with plus 135 Michael Johnson, the slight underdog. And the favorite fighter in odds, Alexander Hernandez, is also the favorite in picks by the YouTube Prediction Channels with 68 out of 96 for 71%. But he's not the favorite in picks by the best predictors, and they slightly favor Michael Johnson to win with 5 out of 9 for 55%. And the best favorite predictors are also not so high on Alexander Hernandez, because they pick him only 5 out of 10 for 50%. And the underdog, Michael Johnson, is picked by the best underdog predictors 4 out of 10. So in odds and in picks by the YouTube Prediction Channels overall, Alexander Hernandez is the clear favorite. But in picks by the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors, it's basically a coin flip. But over the next couple of days, more predictions are coming in from the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors. So things might look different in a couple of days. And if you want to get access to the latest up-to-date picks and method of victory predictions from all the YouTube Prediction Channels, then check out my Patreon and consider becoming a member. A link can be found in the video description. And for the method of victory, most channels are expecting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO, with 8 out of 55 for Michael Johnson, but most 28 out of 55 for 51% are going with a KO TKO win for Alexander Hernandez. And also in this matchup, not a single channel predicts a submission win. And for a decision win, 8 channels go with Michael Johnson and 11 for Alexander Hernandez. And the best MOV predictors, 4 out of 7 are predicting a KO TKO win for Alexander Hernandez. But the odds makers are disagreeing with the YouTube Prediction Channels, because the most likely outcome according to them is a decision win for Alexander Hernandez with odds of plus 185, which is only picked by 20% of all the channels. The next fight is in the flyweight division between Alex Perez and Charles Johnson, and they have opposite records over the last 5 fights, with 4 losses for Alex Perez and 4 victories for Charles Johnson. With minus 180 in average odds, Charles Johnson is the favorite and Alex Perez the underdog with plus 150. Although Charles Johnson's not such a big favorite in odds, he is a really big favorite in picks by the YouTube Prediction Channels, with 85 out of 95 predicting he will win for 90%. And also most of the best predictors, 8 out of 9, pick Charles Johnson to win, and the best favorite predictors pick him 10 out of 10 for 100%. And only 1 out of 10 of the best underdog predictors go with Alex Perez, the underdog. So Charles Johnson is the favorite in odds, but a much bigger favorite in picks. What about the method of victory predictions? Well, for a KO TKO victory, 1 out of 53 is picking Alex Perez to win, and 21 channels go with Charles Johnson. 4 channels predict a submission win for Charles Johnson, but most of the channels are going with a decision win, with 4 out of 53 for Alex Perez, but most of the channels are going with a decision win for Charles Johnson, which is picked by 23 out of 53 channels for 43%. But when we look at the best method of victory predictors, we see a different results, because most of them, 5 out of 7, pick Charles Johnson to win by a KO TKO. But according to the odds makers, that's the least likely outcome for Charles Johnson to win, with odds of plus 535. And they think the most likely outcome is a decision win for Charles Johnson with odds of plus 175. And after that, a decision win for Alex Perez with odds of plus 245, which is picked by only 4 channels. Up next we go to the light heavyweight division for a fight between Nikita Krylov and Modestas Bukauskas. Krylov lost 2 out of his last 5 fights, and Bukauskas is on a 4-fight winning streak. And he's the slight favorite in odds with minus 150 and with plus 120, Krylov the slight underdog. And the small favorite in odds, Modestas Bukauskas, is a pretty big favorite in picks by the YouTube Prediction Channels. 80 out of 96 channels predict he will win this fight for 83%. But he's not such a big favorite in picks by the best predictors, but still the favorite with 6 out of 9 for 67%. And he's also a pretty big favorite with 8 out of 10 by the best favorite predictors. And Krylov the underdog is picked by the best underdog predictors 2 out of 10. So in odds this fight is pretty close, but in picks this fight is not so close at all. For method of victory predictions, most channels expecting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO. With 3 out of 55 for Nikita Krylov, but most of the channels, 42 out of 55, are expecting Modestas Bukauskas to win by a KO or TKO for 76%. For a submission win, we have 2 channels picking Nikita Krylov and 0 for Bukauskas. And finally, for a decision win, 1 channel going with Nikita Krylov and 7 for Bukauskas. And the best MOV predictors, almost all of them go with a KO TKO win for Bukauskas, which is picked by 6 out of 7. Which is also, according to the odds makers, the most likely outcome with odds of plus 110. For the next fight we go to the middleweight division for a matchup between Ateba Gautier and Andrey Pulyaev. Ateba Gautier is on a 4-fight winning streak and has won all of them by a KO or TKO. And Pulyaev won 2 out of his last 3 fights. And with average odds of minus 895, Ateba Gautier is a huge favorite. And Pulyaev the big underdog with plus 595. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Gautier is also a huge favorite. 93 channels out of 96 pick him to win for 97%. And all of the best predictors and the best favorite predictors pick Ateba Gautier to win for 100%. Do any of the best underdog predictors have faith in the big underdog Andrey Pulyaev? Well, he's picked by 1 out of 10 of the best underdog predictors. So, in terms of odds and in picks, it's not looking very good for Andrey Pulyaev. And for the method of victory predictions, well, it's very simple. All of the channels that made a method of victory prediction are picking Ateba Gautier to win by a KO or TKO. And also, according to the odds makers, that's the most likely outcome with odds of minus 550. I don't think I've ever seen them this high. The last fight of the prelims and the future prelim of the night is between Umar Nurmagomedov and Deiveson Figueiredo in the bantamweight division. Nurmagomedov has won 4 out of his last 5 fights and only lost to the previous champion Merab Dvalishvili. And Deiveson Figueiredo has won 3 out of his last 5. And with average odds of minus 1460, Umar Nurmagomedov is the biggest favorite on this card. And Deiveson Figueiredo the big underdog with plus 850. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Umar Nurmagomedov is the biggest favorite on this card. And he's picked by 95 channels out of 96 for 99%. And there's only one channel that was brave enough, or maybe not so smart, to pick Deiveson Figueiredo, which is Angelo from We Want Picks. But if Deiveson wins, he will look like a genius. And all of the best predictors and all of the best favorite and underdog predictors have picked Umar Nurmagomedov for 100%. So, by which method of victory are they predicting Umar Nurmagomedov to win? Well, 2 channels are predicting he will win by a KO or TKO, 11 by a submission, but most of the channels are predicting Umar Nurmagomedov to win via decision, which is picked by 42 channels out of 55 for 76%. But the best method of victory predictors are divided on this one, and every method of victory prediction is picked 2 out of 6 for 33%. Opening up the main card, we have a fight in the featherweight division between Arnold Allen and Jean Silva. Allen won 3 out of his last 5 fights and Jean Silva 4 out of his last 5. The favorite fighters in odds in this matchup is Jean Silva with average odds of minus 285 and with plus 225 Arnold Allen the underdog. Silva is also the favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 75 channels out of 98 pick him to win for 76.5%. But in picks by the best predictors of 2025, he's a much bigger favorite, because he's picked by them 9 out of 9 for 100%. And he's also a huge favorite in picks by the best favorite predictors, because almost all of them pick him to win with 9 out of 10. And the underdog, Arnold Allen, is only picked by 1 out of 10 of the best underdog predictors. So the big favorite in this matchup is Jean Silva in picks and in odds. And for the method of victory predictions, most channels are expecting that this fight will end in a KO or TKO, with 1 for Arnold Allen, but most of the channels, 34 out of 59, pick Jean Silva to win by KO or TKO. 0 channels are predicting a submission win in this fight, and 7 channels are going with a decision victory for Arnold Allen and 17 for Jean Silva. And most of the best MOV predictors are predicting a KO TKO win for Jean Silva, which is picked by 5 out of 7 for more than 70%. And also, according to the odds makers, the most likely outcome is a KO TKO win for Silva with plus 150. But a decision win is pretty close with plus 175. And the next fight on the main card is between Natália Silva and Rose Namajunas in the women's flyweight division. Silva has won every fight in the UFC so far and is on a 7-fight winning streak. And Rose won 3 out of her last 5 fights. In odds, Natália Silva is the big favorite with minus 410 and Rose Namajunas the underdog with plus 315. In picks, Natália Silva is a huge favorite and is picked by 89 channels out of 96 for 93%. But she's even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors and is picked 9 out of 9 for 100%. And also the best favorite and underdog predictors pick her 10 out of 10 for 100% as well. So in picks and in odds, it's not looking great at all for Rose Namajunas. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 0 channels predicting a KO TKO win in this fight or a submission. And as is usually the case in a women's MMA fight, most channels are predicting a decision win. And 52 channels out of 54, so almost everyone, is picking Natália Silva to win via decision. And only 2 channels are picking Rose Namajunas via decision. And all of the best MOV predictors also pick Natália Silva to win via decision. For the next fight, we go to the big boys in the heavyweight division for a fight between Cortes-Acosta and Derrick Lewis. Acosta has won 4 out of his last 5 fights and Derrick Lewis won 3 out of his last 5. The favorite fighter in odds in this matchup is Acosta with minus 320 and Derrick Lewis the underdog with plus 255. In picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Acosta is also the favorite with 73 out of 95 channels picking him to win for 77%. But in picks by the best predictors, he's even a bigger favorite and he's picked 8 out of 9 for 89%. And also the best favorite predictors favor him to win with 8 out of 10 for 80%. And the underdog Derrick Lewis is picked by none of the best underdog predictors. For the method of victory predictions, most channels are going with a KO TKO win for Cortes-Acosta, which is picked by 31 channels out of 57 for almost 55%. And 10 channels are going with a KO TKO win for Derrick Lewis. We have only one channel going with a submission win for Acosta, and we have 15 channels picking Acosta to win via decision. And the best method of victory predictors are picking Cortes-Acosta to win by a KO TKO win 5 out of 7 for more than 70%. And for the co-main event of the evening, we go to the bantamweight division for a fight between Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong. Sean O'Malley has won 3 out of his last 5 fights and his last 2 fights he won last against the previous champion Merab Dvalishvili. And Song Yadong also won 3 out of his last 5 fights, with 1 loss over the current champion Peter Yan. In odds, the favorite in this matchup is Sean O'Malley with minus 205 and with plus 170 Song Yadong the underdog. Although Sean O'Malley is not such a big favorite in odds, he is a pretty big favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 84 out of 98 pick him to win for 86%. But he's even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors, because all of them 9 out of 9 pick him to win. And also all of the best favorite predictors pick him to win 10 out of 10. And Song Yadong, the underdog, is only picked by 1 out of 10 of the best underdog predictors. So in picks, O'Malley is a much bigger favorite than he is in odds. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 10 out of 60 channels picking Sean O'Malley to win by a KO or TKO and 1 for Song Yadong. 0 channels predict a submission win in this fight, and most of the channels are predicting a decision win for Sean O'Malley, which is picked by 46 channels out of 60 for 77%, and 3 channels predict a decision win for Song Yadong. But interestingly enough, most of the best MOV predictors are predicting a KO TKO win for Sean O'Malley, which is picked by 4 out of 7 for 57%. But the odds makers are predicting that the most likely outcome for this fight is a decision win for Sean O'Malley with odds of plus 110. And then for the main event of the evening, we have a fight for the UFC Interim Lightweight Championship belt between Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. Justin Gaethje has won 3 out of his last 5 fights and Paddy Pimblett has won every fight he fought in the UFC and is on a 7-fight winning streak. And in odds, Paddy Pimblett is the favorite with average odds of minus 235 and with plus 195 Justin Gaethje the underdog. In picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Paddy Pimblett is also the favorite. 76 channels out of 98 pick him to win for 78%. But he's even a bigger favorite in picks by the best predictors of 2025 and 8 out of 9 predict that he will win for 89%. And he's also the big favorite in picks by the best favorite predictors with 9 out of 10 for 90%. And the underdog Justin Gaethje is picked by the best underdog predictors 2 out of 10 for 20%. So in picks overall, Paddy Pimblett is the big favorite. And for the method of victory predictions, we have 7 channels predicting a KO TKO win for Justin Gaethje and also 7 for Paddy Pimblett. For a submission win, 0 for Justin Gaethje, but most of the channels are going with a submission win for Paddy Pimblett, which is picked by 41 channels out of 57 for more than 70%. And for a decision win, 2 channels pick Justin Gaethje and 0 for Pimblett. And most of the best MOV predictors have Paddy Pimblett winning via submission, 5 out of 7. Which is also the most likely outcome according to the odds makers with odds of plus 115. After looking at all of these fights, what are some of the most profitable betting opportunities on this card? And before we start, over the next couple of days I'll keep tracking predictions, which also includes predictions from the best predictors and the best favorite and underdog predictors. And things might look different when the final predictions are tracked. And if you want to get access to the latest daily updated picks and support the channel, consider becoming a member on my Patreon. A link can be found in the video description. For the first best betting opportunity for this event, we have Charles Johnson. He is the favorite with minus 180, but is picked by the best predictors 8 out of 9 and by the best favorite predictors 10 out of 10. And if you want a better price than the minus 180 moneyline odds, If you have him winning by a KO or TKO, you can get plus 535, which is picked by 5 out of 7 of the best method of victory predictors, or a decision win with plus 175. But that's only picked by 1 out of 7 of the best MOV predictors, but by most of the YouTube prediction channels. For the second best betting opportunity, we have John Silva. He is a pretty big favorite with minus 285 in average odds, but is picked by the best predictors 100% and by the best favorite predictors 9 out of 10. And if you want better than the minus 285 moneyline odds, if you have him winning by a KO or TKO, you can get odds of plus 150, which is picked by 5 out of 7 of the best MOV predictors. And for the final best betting opportunity, we have Sean O'Malley, who is the favorite with minus 205, but is picked 100% by the best predictors and 100% by the best favorite predictors. And if you want better than the minus 205 moneyline odds, if you have him winning by a KO TKO, you can get plus 295, which is picked by 4 out of 7 of the best MOV predictors, or a decision win with odds of plus 110, which is picked by 3 out of 7 of the best MOV predictors, but by most of the YouTube prediction channels, 46 out of 60. That was it for the first overview video of 2026 for UFC 324. Hope you enjoyed it and found it informative and helpful for making profitable bets this weekend. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel and enjoy the fights and your weekend.